it just makes natural sense to me that there's this platform where 90% of our population is located that we can reach people there. So how do we create a battle plan for a scale practice? A large part of this is going to be starting to scale your social media presence online.
Hello, and welcome to Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. This podcast is dedicated to chiropractors who are in the seasons of launching and building their practice. Join myself, Dr. Lona, and my co-host, Dr. Bobby, as we have conversations each week as it relates to building the practice of your dreams. And remember, you can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. We're here to lead you on the way.
What is up, team? Welcome back to the Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast with the amazing Dr. Lona Cook and myself, Dr. Bobby Lajasevic, where we come to you guys every single week from the trenches with real building tactics for your chiropractic office. Dr. Lona, what's going on? How you doing, lady? How's your week?
Hey, Bobby, I've already learned a lot from you just in us prepping for this episode, so I'm excited to jump in. My week's been going good.
I love it. Yes. Those of you guys who don't know, we prepare before our episodes. And, you know, some of that preparation time, both Lona and myself, we absolutely love. It's like a coaching call, right? I walk out of it with notes. So I want you to know, Lona, I walk out of it with a ton of notes as well. So I appreciate your time and I appreciate the expertise and the amazing insight that you bring into things. And I know that everyone listening to this, which is a growing list of people, appreciates you and loves you. And thanks for pouring into us every single week. Yeah.
Right back at you. Thank you.
So guys, we are continuing this week's conversation around marketing. The last 2 episodes, we have been speaking about marketing new patient attraction. Last week specifically, we went into the battle plan for a launch practice or for a newer office. So someone who's just kicking off an office that maybe is a little bit more money focused. We talked about, all right, what we can be doing to leverage time and leverage energy to start to get those runs on the board. This week now, we want to shift the conversation slightly. And we want to start talking about, okay, what's the marketing battle plan for a scale office? And a scale office is one that's growing and it's adding associates. So you've gotten to the point that you're maxed out, but your mission and your purpose is higher than just you maxing out. So maybe you're looking to add, you've just added your first associate. Maybe you're looking to add, you're about to add, you've just added your second associate or your third associate or your fourth associate, right? In our primary location now, we have 5 chiros at the moment, full-time. And so I totally can tell you every single time that you add a team member or you add an associate, the ball game changes slightly. And you need to adapt to that change if you want to continue to see the same level of growth. I can also equally tell you, there was a time in the past where, you know, I had 2 associates, myself, my wife, she's a chiropractor as well. And we didn't adapt to, oh, wow, we just added a new associate. So I know what that feels like and the struggle behind that too. And I know some of you guys listening to this, maybe are in that struggle where you've got associates, they're not at capacity, they're not getting enough new patients. You don't understand because you built your practice on, you know, all these referrals. And so you're not really sure now why they're not growing. So this message might be for you as well. So Dr. Lona, why don't you kick us off with this and say, all right, you're a launch practice and you're a scale practice. So you've got both locations and multiple associates. Where do we want to start with this? So battle plan for a scale practice. I know a lot of people say things like, all you got to do is just internal referrals. Just do great work, get internal referrals, teach your associates to just do great work and get internal referrals. And that is completely enough. And every time I hear that, I must say, I equally have a small little chuckle inside of myself and a small little part of me just like cries inside of me, right? Because I'm like, you know, yeah, I get that, man. But like, why are we having all conversations? Why is it, you know, hey, let's just do internal referral or external marketing? And I'm the kind of guy I'm always like, why aren't we having end conversations? You know, why aren't we saying, let's freaking do internal marketing superbly, world class, and let's learn how to do external marketing and digital marketing, combine the two together. Lona, what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear your feedback. I know you're a bit more level-headed than me.
Well, that's not true necessarily. Okay. Yeah, Bobby and I were chatting about this and I said, something I really had to overcome, which it sounds like maybe you too, Bobby, because I remember the like frustration of thinking like, okay, we've made it to this place. And when I say we, I mean my team, when I was like one doc seeing high volume with some CAs, right? Where it was like, I'm not really thinking about marketing that much anymore. We've got internal steady referrals happening. I'm about as busy as I can be. And as we went into having multiple docs and then eventually multiple locations, what I had to really realize is that, yeah, you don't just add a doc and then count on only internal referrals, especially when that doc is still learning how to like talk the tick and like do all the things, right? There's a training period. So
Yep.
I agree with you that I think we really, yes, it is a beautiful thing to have an internal referral conduit of people who just love what you do, get great results, love your staff, want to probably live in your practice because it's a bright spot in their world, right? That's what we should be. That's like, we're already making the assumption that like, you're going to do this craft well, right? And so people are going to refer. And the more that you also provide opportunities for them to know that you're ready, because sometimes they walk into a busy place and they're like, I don't know if I can send people in here because it's busy in here. Maybe you don't want new patients, right? Are you accepting new patients, right? Like those are sometimes the conversations happening in their minds if we don't create that process where we already answer and tell them we loved seeing your whole family. We love taking care of your kids. We want you to tell your whole community about the results you're getting, right? So yes, there's a leveraging of even that internal conversation that most of us could take to the next level. And on top of that, it's like, why, if we have this thing that's as good as we say it is, and we transform people's lives, and we recognize that if we just uncork it, and by uncork it, I mean like use everything that's available to us, because like we've said on other podcasts, I think BJ Palmer probably would be using social media to the full extent to get the message of chiropractic out to the masses, which then means you're going to need to scale because more and more people are going to be connecting the dots that they want what we have. They didn't know it was called chiropractic. So for me, it was like, wow, I realized that I had kind of become a fat cat just relying on like organic referrals. And as my team expanded, we were actually going to have to do this marketing thing to the next level and tell people in our community that they could come in here by giving them options through social media, classes, being out in the community speaking. We just wanted to create more inroads. Yep.
Yeah, you know what? For me, it was always really straightforward, and I always had the mindset of I've got this thing that I love and that's amazing, and I want to use every avenue possible to get it out. It was really that simple. Yes, one of those avenues, internal referrals, but here's what I also recognized: the more people that I'm already seeing, the more internal referrals that I can get to, because I've got more people to talk to. When I was talking to 10 people a week, there wasn't that many people that I could maybe get an internal referral from. It was a little bit harder. And I love it when somebody says things to me like, oh, yeah, well, do you ever see Lamborghini advertising? And I'm like, sure. Okay, let's look at a company in cars that advertises a lot. Let's say Toyota. What's the bigger company, Toyota or Lamborghini? Don't worry about the price of the individual car. What's the bigger worth company, Toyota or Lamborghini? What do you reckon?
Probably Toyota.
Yeah, and it's not even a probably. Like, I can tell you, Toyota is like minimum 20 times company the size of Lamborghini. Okay. So I look at Apple. I love Apple. Okay. I'm an Apple user. Absolutely. And right now I think I've got five Apple products right in front of me, right? Multiple Apple screens, the laptop here. I've got an iPad and I've got an iPhone. Apple markets to me whenever there's a new release. I'm pretty sure it's around September. Okay. It's like the new iPhone is getting released. Yeah. You see the ads go up, you see the billboards go up, you see the advertising go up. Okay. Multi-million-dollar company. They market to me because I have a product, right? So, I don't like having all conversations. I've always loved having conversations. How do we become masterful at internal referrals? And absolutely, internal referrals are a sign of a healthy practice. They're a sign that you're getting the message across and that people inside of your practice are understanding the big idea. So you should be striving to have a lot of internal referrals. Absolutely. And building mastery around marketing and bringing in droves of new patients so you can fill your practice to whatever your desired level is. And you know what? If you have brought on an associate, you have a responsibility to help support the growth of that associate. Okay. One of the reasons why I feel as though we eat our young in chiropractic and we have all these associateships that fail is because of unclear expectations and agreements on one party's end. And if I just look at it from the principal then, because I'm a principal, so I look at it also training and coaching other principals a lot. One place that a lot of principals fall short is that they don't offer that opportunity. And it's like, well, I just grew like this, so just go and do that. It can't be that hard. Okay.
That was good. That was good. That was a great point. And I think like you really don't have business bringing on an associate unless you're actually in the game to help them build too. So.
Yep, 100%. Exactly right. So battle plan for a scaling practice for me looks like this. Now that we've established some groundwork here, and we said, yes, you want to have masterful internal referrals. And maybe we can talk about later down the line, some strategies around how do we amplify our internal referrals, okay? I always looked at it in my mind like this. I was always like, I need to have this wheel that's constantly spinning. That's like, and this is the visual I'm painting now, right? Picture a wheel that's constantly spinning. And that constantly spinning wheel is just consistently always every single day throwing out new patients at me, okay? And then there's new patients, I could capture them, and then they would go into my practice. They would start care. Now they're in my tribe. So once they're in my tribe, then I can leverage the compounding effect of knowing that that person has a network of people, and I can tap into that network either through my table talk, right? Starting from day 1 and day 2, my table talk once they convert to care. Or maybe I could leverage their network through Better Results Faster workshop, right? I could do a great BRF workshop, inspire them to send other people into me. Maybe I can leverage their network through email marketing and emailing to my database and encouraging them to, let's say, a workshop or a special event that we're doing or a patient appreciation day, okay? But I needed to get that wheel spinning in the first place. You know, if they weren't in there, I didn't have that wheel that was regularly spinning them off. So I look at right now in our offices. So all my offices are multi-DC, so technically scale. And for every single office, I have a goal where I use the rule of tens. And the rule of tens means whatever my associates have as their goal they want to get to, all right, they need roughly 10% of that weekly goal as their monthly new patient number individually. So Lona, if you're an associate in my office and you say, Bob, Dr. Bobby, I want to get 200 visits a week. Right now I'm on like 150. I'm loving that. I want to get to 200. Great, Lona. We need a battle plan that you're getting consistently 25 new patients per month. Okay. Now times that by, let's say 5 chiropractors in an office. Cool. All right. That's when you can usually see how a scale office can need upwards of 100 new patients a month. Right. So I want to talk about the mathematics of this first so that you understand it, because I feel as though if you understand the maths of it, then when we go through the systems are going to be more meaningful. There's this thing in business called churn rate. Lena, you know about churn rate, right?
I do. And I think it's a conversation that most chiropractors have never crunched for themselves, or don't even know where to get the numbers sometimes.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to us just like high level, what does churn mean? What's a churn in a business?
Naturally, as your practice grows and you're seeing more people, there's people who are moving away, they're dropping out, they're, finding out that they've got relocated. Like there's a million reasons why they don't show back up in your practice. So let's say you have 600 active clients that are coming in and receiving care every month. Maybe there's 25, 30, maybe there's 50 people who are actually dropping out. And that is how you start to figure out your churn rate, is how many people are leaving the practice, what percentage of your practice is exiting.
Yeah. And so what I want you to hear, what Lona said there, is that every practice has churn. My practice has churn. Lona's practice has churn. Anyone who you see on a chiropractic stage that you might think, well, this person has it all figured out, that person has churn. Every single business has churn. A bank has churn, right? You get a mortgage on your home and, you either pay off the home, then you don't owe the bank anything anymore, or you sell the home, or people pass away, all sorts of things happen, right? And so you're no longer a customer for that bank. You're a churn for that bank. So churn is a percentage of the amount of people that are dropping out. Now, we can maybe do a separate podcast just talking about churn, which will be more under retention. However, a healthy churn in a chiropractic office, roughly they say, is about 5%. So if you find your total active practice members, so everyone that's got a mapped schedule in advance is an active practice member. Just for the sake of this conversation, let's say we're dealing with a scale office that's roughly at 500 visits a week. So we've got a 500 visit a week scale office now that has 3 DCs inside that office, and they're looking to make the journey to 750. All right. So a healthy churn of 5%, and most offices are higher than that, but let's just work with 5%. That means if you have 500 visits a week, you probably have aroundish 600, right, total active people. Some are seeing you every other week. Some are seeing you weekly. Some are seeing you 3 times a week. Depends how long you've been around. But let's just, for the sake of this conversation, say there's 600 total active people combined seeing you 500 visits a week. All right. So if we take 5% of 600, I'm not the best at maths, but I think that's 30, Lona. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. So what that means is that 30 people we expect to drop out every single month. All right. 30 people per month to drop out, 5% churn. which means just to stay the same, just to break even and continue on 500, we need to have 30 people start care per month. That equates to about 7 per week. That's start care, okay? So if 30 are going to start per month, we probably need at least 40 new patients. That's to break even. Because if you have 40 UEs, by the time maybe some don't rock up to day 2, right? And then by the time some decide to not start care at day 2, all right, you're going to have about 30 starting. And this is where the rule of 10 comes into it. So then if you're trying to get to, let's say, 750 visits a week in this example, the rule of 10 states that you'll need 75 new patients a month. And now you see what I mean. Because if 30 are dropping out, you're getting 75. Let's say of those 75, 55 to 60 are starting care. You've got a positive net momentum in that example of roughly about 20. So then if you maintain that, you're going to be growing by 20 total active practice members every single month. And eventually you'll make the journey to 750 a week. Okay.
Rewind, re-listen, think about that. Like, this is the math that nobody really works out.
So yes, if you're listening to this, maybe like hit the rewind 30-second button there on the podcast app, because you want to wrap your head around that. You want to understand that number. If you're a smaller practice with total 100 active people, you still got to churn. That means 5 to 6 or 7 are dropping out every single month. Yeah. So I find that that's super useful because it gives me a target. So if I say, all right, my target is I'm adding another chiropractor now, where at 3 chiros, I'm adding a 4th, and we're going to now make the journey towards 750 plus. All right. My role as the owner is I look at it now and go, we need a battle plan. Up until now, we've been getting 45, 50 new patients a month. We need a battle plan now to get 75 new patients a month. Okay. So how do I create a battle plan? Of course, internal referrals is an expectation alongside internal referrals, so we can start getting 75 new ears a month. Okay. So here's what I would do. I would look and go, okay, what is the areas that I can leverage first and foremost? How can I take money and buy time? Because when you're in scale, you have money, right? And you want to acquire more time. So, Lona, where you live there, I don't know a lot of things. I don't know, for example, what the primary industry is. I don't know what primary work people do. I actually don't even know what the primary weather is. Does it snow there, Lona?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's
okay. So it snows. All right. All right. So I didn't know that it snowed there. I don't know what your like local supermarket is. I don't know what your local high schools are. I don't know what the name of those high schools are. But let me tell you one thing that I do know. You ready? One thing that I do know is that the overwhelming majority of people where you live have a digital online presence. Would that be an accurate assumption?
100%. Yes.
So they either have a lot
of time on it, right? Yeah.
So they either have like a Google account or a Facebook account or Instagram account. Am I right in that assumption?
And TikTok, yes.
And TikTok, there you go. Okay. And if you were to just add a guess, like assume where I live, okay, and if you were to make that same assumption, guess what? You'd be right. All right. Everyone in my area too, it doesn't snow here, but everyone in my area here also has a smartphone and is on online presence. All right. So for that reason, it just makes natural sense to me that there's this platform where 90% of our population is located, that we can reach people there. So how do we create a battle plan for a scale practice? A large part of this is going to be starting to scale your social media presence online. Lona,
and also not neglect every other part that 10 years ago, not everyone had like a converting website. Like, just recognize that your website, new patients are going to your website. Your regular people don't go there, right? So your website should be turning people into scheduled appointments. I don't know. That took me way too long to hear that message. So I'm just saying that for whether you're in build or scale.
I'm glad that you said that. Absolutely right. That's a good point. Your existing practice members are not going to your website, right? So it has to be a high converting website. It has to have the ability to be able to book easily. It has to have some kind of offer on there, right? It has to have somewhere where it's worthy to drive traffic, because if you're looking to scale, you've got to learn how to do what I just said there at the end, and that's drive traffic. And then you've got to work out where you're driving traffic. So you're driving traffic direct to an offer, which is an offer where you can get someone's details. Are you driving traffic towards a website, which you figured out you've got a good converting website, so you're getting people to book straight in? Are you driving traffic to a workshop? I was sharing with Lona earlier today. So we have this week 100 people pre-booked for a workshop. So we've got one tonight. We had one last night. Those 100 people, that's 100 guests at a workshop. So we have 100 new patient opportunities. Those 100 new patient opportunities have all come about as a result of digital media in some form. whether that's paid advertising or whether that's digital media like email marketing out to our database. They've all come through digital, but they probably received something on their mobile phone and they made a booking through their mobile phone.
Love it.
Okay. So I want you to look, if you're looking to scale, here's what most of you that are hearing this are probably doing. And I'll tell you what we're probably not doing, which is stopping you from scaling. I'm going to assume that probably most of you are doing some form of digital marketing already. Thanks for the breakthrough, Lona and Bob. Sorry, I'm already doing digital marketing. What next? Cool. All right. Here's what I'm also going to almost guaranteed. I'd be willing to bet money, not on everyone, all right, but I would definitely say if we did like a sample survey here, I would be willing to bet that 95% of people fall into this category. And that is that you are not doing enough split testing with your digital marketing. You're either running one ad or two ads and you're getting some kind of performance that's keeping you satisfied and satiated for a period of time, but you know that you're not really kind of hitting the levels that you could be hitting, okay? And it's a volume of how much is being produced. The top practices and the top businesses outside of practices have volumes and volumes and volumes and volumes of ads. It's like having this massive ocean of fish and just having one line in the water. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or you can have multiple lines in the water with different kinds of bait and you're going to catch a lot more fish. So if you're looking to scale, you've got to create more content. All right. And you've got to set up more ads. And then you got to split test more, kill the ones that are not working well, amplify the ones that are working well, keep the ones that are in between, and keep that cycling going every single week. And here we go. Ready? Spend more money on things that are working. As your practice grows, you got to spend more money on marketing. Is that been your experience, Lena?
Yes. Yes. And I think what was really helpful was when someone told me should be spending 8 to 12% of what you want to collect that year in marketing. I was like, again, why had it taken so long until I met you guys at TRP that I learned some of these data points? So, we were wildly under that. And as I invested in marketing, all of a sudden the practice doubles, right? And it's like, yes, because we were giving it the juice to double quickly.
Yeah. And maybe next time, and we can work out if we do it next podcast or somewhere in the future, we should talk about the numbers and the dollar amounts of marketing, because you got to know this. You got to know what a healthy new patient acquisition cost is, and you got to know what your lifetime client value is if you know how much you're going to spend to get somebody. So for example, right now, to give you guys like a baseline, I spend on social media digital advertising in one practice up to $500 to $550 a day. Okay. Some people are like, oh, I'm spending $50 a day and I'm uncomfortable going to 100. If the ads are working and you want to scale them, start producing new ads, new content, more verticals, spend more money. You'll get more newies in. Okay. At the same time, we get upwards of 350 leads. And these are quality leads that have gone through a pre-qualifying process and, the specific process that they go through. So it's not just people leaving their names, and then we chase and we end up with 15% of them. So when if you've got a healthy new patient acquisition cost, when you know how much you're allowed to spend to get a newie and that it's profitable for you, then it becomes a case of start turning up the engine, start spending more, get them into workshops, fill workshops up, get them into direct offers. Okay. And then I love what you said, Lena, don't forget the traditional stuff. So traditional things for me are things like spinal screenings. What's been your experience with spinal screenings?
I don't have a lot of experience with spinal screenings. I did it in school and then realized I don't know if this is like what I love. So I do talks. I do a ton of talks. So Bobby, I'm deferring to you on the spinal screenings.
Okay. So I heard this from Fab Ansini when I was a student. I remember him saying that they surveyed a bunch of chiropractic offices and they found the two primary ways they built new patients was through talks and screenings. So I was like, all right, I've got to do both. So I actually did a lot of screenings. And what I loved about screenings is it taught me how to communicate and it taught me how to sell. So if you're listening to this, I would strongly encourage, if you want to learn and build more conviction around chiropractic, go and book yourself some trainings. It will certainly teach you how to talk. It'll certainly teach you how to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then after a while, you get out of your own way and you don't care. In today's world, I can tell you, screenings still work. We're more selective now. So we have our like 5 to 6 handful of like good performing screenings that we know we're going to get healthy numbers of new patients from, and we stagger those throughout the year, right? So we will still screen. Now we have a bigger team now and a bigger team presence and all that kind of stuff. But my battle plan for a scale of practice is, yes, you're going to be scaling your digital online presence, right? And your big players in the digital world, guys, are Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, all right, and Google. So you got Google AdWords, you got Meta AdWords, and then of course there's a third emerger, which is TikTok, slightly different audience that you're going to be targeting there. But those are your Google and Meta absolutely your two big giants in this pond. And then now you've got TikTok's come along. You should be scaling. Which one should I do, Bob? Do all of them. But I would say do one first until you get to a level of mastery that you're getting positive ROI. If you're doing one and it's not positive ROI, you haven't figured out the formula yet. You need to reach out to one of us. We can guide you in the right direction. Or if you're delegating this out to a social media company, you probably need to introduce a high level of accountability to that company. Okay, really important. Do not play the set and forget game. I'm hiring you guys, send me newies, here's my $2,000 a month. That's not how it works, right? Yes. Then on top of that, we're going to be leveraging talks, we're going to be leveraging screenings, and we're going to be stacking our marketing calendar in a way where every single week, okay, we have digital that's going on, and then that's stacked with talks and screenings. And there's talks inside the office and there's talks outside of the office. Lena, you said you did a lot of talks. What wisdom can you pour in here? What advice would you give someone looking to do more talks?
Yeah. So to start with, just realize you've got opportunities for talks everywhere. You know, when you're, for instance, in a newer practice, you're going out and meeting your community, whether it's the dental office that's down the road, you could go in and bring a lunch and learn in there, or a coffee break for them. Like there's ways where you can do short talks. If you're like, gosh, I don't know if I can talk for 30 minutes, talk for 15 minutes and bring them something, and then make sure you make an offer. So you're going to get better at it, just like you get better at screening by sharing your heart, sharing your passion, finding one or two topics you love to speak on, both out in other places. And also you can do it, like Bobby said, in your office, and leverage your list and refill those, you know, have them come into your office to hear the talk. So for me, it was going into other businesses. And then as I did more of that, then I started getting invited into like much bigger companies. So I did like 500 electricians last year, giving them a talk on how important their nervous system is and their mindset and energy. To construction workers, it was quite an interesting scenario, but I love doing that because I also just love giving information and then letting them know, like, hey, we're here to serve you, and here's how you get, you know, connected with us, and here's where you book. So just know that when you like share well, like people are going to like connect into that. And then you need to give them a way to like get connected in like next steps, make an offer in that talk, you know,
Lona, I'm a bit shy. I feel awkward doing talks. I'm a bit scared. You know, that's easy for you. You're very extroverted, right? But I don't know. I just find that difficult. Even though I've built a good practice, I just find it difficult to do talks.
Yeah. So when I first started, I took Toastmasters, which is like a international group where you just learn how to give talks, because I wasn't good at speaking. I still don't know if I'm good at speaking. I just enjoyed enough that I keep doing it. And it seems to work, right? Because everybody's so worried about their own selves that they're not that harsh on you. Also, so remember that too, that like you're going to be your worst critic. And if you do videotape yourself, you're going to learn from like, okay, that got a little wonky in there. Or I started off a little, you know, not confident, but I came back around and I closed it well. Like this is important to videotape, watch yourself. There's also Roberto Monaco's course that teaches you how to speak and using storytelling. So it's like anything else. It's a muscle you can keep building, especially if you're not saying, well, I just don't do it. Just like for me, Bobby, had I had a mentor telling me, you have to screen, figure it out. Here's how you're going to do it. That feels authentic to you. I probably would have done it, but I let myself off the hook on that. And at least I went and gave talks, right? If you could do both like Bobby did, you're going to grow faster.
So I love what you said there. You went and did Toastmasters, because what that suggests to me is, you did the work. Okay. No one can do the work for you, but you went and you did the work. You're like, I'm going to go and do Toastmasters. And then I probably am going to hazard a guess here and say, even though you did Toastmasters, when it came time to do your first talk, were you still nervous?
I'm still nervous every time I speak now, and I speak on some stages that are way bigger than what I'm doing even locally in our area. Right. So just know that everybody on some level is nervous, no matter where you see them and where you think they're at in there. Nobody has it all figured out, right? So get started on your own.
But success leaves clues, and there's a big clue that Lona just left there. And that clue was she still gets nervous, but you know what? She gets up and does it anyway. Okay. I'm the same. I had a dinner workshop last night, smaller dinner than usual because I have a massive advanced workshop tonight. I was still nervous getting up for that dinner. And I don't know how many, I've done probably over 150 dinners at this stage. Well, much more actually, now that I think about it. So we still get nervous, but we just do it anyway. And Lena, you are a fantastic speaker. You're amazing. But I know that, you weren't born an amazing speaker. You didn't get up the first time and nail it. I'm sure if we watched a video of your first talk now, you would probably like wins more than what we would. We're like, that was pretty good, right? But you would look at it and go, oh my goodness, was that how I was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was telling someone else today that I said my first talk I gave had 2 people at it. I gave it at this little restaurant that had a back room. 2 people showed up. I'm sure if I had it recorded, I would be like, it would be so cringeworthy. Like, what did I even say in it? I have no idea what the talk was even on. Hopefully something chiropractic. But one of those 2 people has never missed a month of chiropractic in the 15 years we've been open. Fine.
Yeah. How amazing is that, huh? Yeah. BJ said it. You never know how far-reaching something you think, say, or do is going to affect and serve the lives of millions tomorrow. That's a case example of it right there. Yeah. So talk's huge and super leverageable. It's one-to-many communication. So when enough people that are doing well in practice say to you, you know what, speaking is important, hopefully it starts to sink in, right? Hopefully you get to a point where you go, all right, I'm getting the hidden subliminal message here. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, just do it anyway. I promise you won't fall through the ground. Okay, this big crater won't open up. I promise you at the end of it, you'll actually feel this level of satisfaction and accomplishment. Okay. I've got a workshop tonight. There's 100 people booked. They're coming into my office. Yes, we can fit about 85 in my office. I'm not sure how we're going to cram 100 in there, but I'll let you know next week. We'll figure it out. I know that on the back end of that, when I'm driving home, I'm going to feel stoked and accomplished. I know on the front end of it, I've spoken a lot of times to, like you said, a lot of big audiences. I'm going to get nervous. I'm going to be like, oh, all right, this is my time to get up there. It's my time to work it. But it's also kind of like a rock concert. Yeah. And you're the rock star and everyone's come here to watch you perform. So embrace that energy and enjoy that energy, because the message that you're sharing is amazing and it helps people empower their lives and live much more fulfilled lives. So you have a message worth sharing. Right.
Bobby, that's key for most of you that are feeling like self-critical on this, is like, make it not about you. This is about what if you're going to meet someone that changes their life. And if you don't share what you know, then it's on you. Right.
Yep.
So get outside of yourself. Mm-hmm.
So here's my 60-second battle plan for a scaling practice. You ready? Here's what I will be doing, Lona. I would be, number 1, leveraging my social medias and spending more money in well-performing positive ROI ads. Number 2, I would be adding multiple verticals of ads, and I'd be adding multiple different styles. So I'd be running ads for direct offers. I'll be running ads for workshops. I'll be running ads for spinal screenings. Okay. Number 3, I would be booking out talks. Now, I know people are going to ask the question now, how do I book talks? Maybe podcast for another time. Simple, nice, easy way to book talks is what I'll do next step, which is I would be leveraging my internal list. So I'd be marketing to my internal list. I'd be staying in communication and giving value, offer. The percentage is 75, 25%, 75% value, 25% offer. Think commercials in TV. Those of you that have seen TV, 30-minute segment, you have roughly about 8 minutes of commercials. 75 or 25 is the ratio. It's been proven for centuries. So use that list. If you want to do more talks and speak, market that list and tell them one of the things that we're doing in Q4, we're getting out and speaking. We would love to come to your office. All right. So there you go. You can start to see how it's coming together. But again, we'll say for another time. Yeah. And then the final thing that I would do is I would be all of these avenues. And if you have a team, you can also leverage more spinal screenings. All of these avenues, I would be compounding the effect of these newies, that every single person that comes in, I'd be looking to turn 1 into 2 or into 3. And the way that I'd be doing that is through a carefully thought out day 1 and day 2 process where you're planting seeds for family checkups. It's through a better results faster workshop that hits a home run when somebody starts care, and it's through properly selected and crafted table talk and progress exams and progress reports. Okay, systems driven internal referrals. Design it in a way where it makes sense to refer someone and it leads to a referral. Okay? And let me tell you this, final comments from me, Lona. It truly interests me, but also excites me at the scope of how many new patients is possible. We have weeks where we've booked like 40 to 50 newies in a week and reproducible, and it's still not even like scratching the bottom of the barrel. I honestly think it's so hard to understand. Like, it's hundreds of new patients a month is possible when you get it dialed in. So you don't even have to have it dialed in. Just get it semi-good and you'll get results more than what you can handle.
You fire me up, Bobby, when I talk about marketing, like 100 new patients. Okay. if you're listening to this and you're a little overwhelmed by the idea of like, how do I get some of these numbers? We talked about churn. We talked about understanding like, what does it cost versus like, should I be leveraging more marketing because I'm making, like maybe I'm making poor marketing choices. I'm not getting my return of investment. If all these numbers are like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to get them. This is where you should reach out, because I, like you, had some numbers, but I came into TRP and I had to learn how to actually look at how does my mission look on paper when I do the math behind it, right? And that helps you actually know, where do I pour money in? Where do I need to train my team better? Where's the conversion process broken? What's our capacity right now? How many new people are they just spilling out the back end because we don't have the capacity, right? Like, these are all parts of what we help practices with, and are really the part of like, we're serving humanity. And like Bobby said, there is no end to the amount of people who really want what we have. They just don't know it's called chiropractic. And that's why we need to market.
Yep. I'm so glad that you finished with that, because while marketing is our biggest opportunity for growth and biggest way for us to scale the profession, it's also our biggest point of exposure. Because if you're marketing, but you don't know your numbers or your dollars or how you should be spending or what's positive ROI, you're actually just digging a deeper hole. You're marketing, you're making it busier, you're putting more chaos into the office, but at the same time, it's not leading to more profits. So you can't reinvest back in the business. So you've got to know the marketing formula. You've got to know the numbers before you start turning things up and spending more money and dishing cash out. Really important that you know what your numbers are so that you can get positive ROI and scale in a proper fashion. It's a machine. Marketing is a machine. And when the machine is designed, is $1 goes in, $3, $4, $5, $10 has to come out. But you've got to know how the machine is designed, and you've got to know what the dollars are. Okay. So if you've got questions, reach out. Lona, always a pleasure. Love chatting tech with you. Love chatting marketing with you. It's always great fun. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the wisdom that you pour into our listeners. And guys, if you get as much value as what I do, please give us a 5-star review on the podcast. Or if you're not following yet, 3 dots in the top right-hand corner, subscribe, follow. By following us, it helps us get out to more people, more chiropractors. Or you know what? Share this. Send it to someone that you know needs to hear it. Yeah, that's the biggest way that you can help grow chiropractic, by helping other chiropractors be more successful.
And if you didn't listen to the previous 2 episodes, go back and listen to them and share with your friends, because we're all in this conversation. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Love it. All right, team. We'll catch you guys all next week. Lona, have an amazing day.
You too. Bye, Bobby. Thanks for listening to this episode of Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, please click the links in the show notes to schedule a call.